Oh, I can't see without my glasses. I was going to go without them.
No, there's no way. I can't
see the fine stuff. I can do distance, but man, oh man, I could not see this stuff save my life.
You're lying.
That's okay. Everybody knows I can't see without my glasses.
Well, we might
as well go.
Yeah, might as well go now.
Yeah.
Well, there's a first time for everything, and this is the inaugural LL Hoops Pick and Roll. I'm honored to be. Oh, by the way, I'm Bruce Badgley. Del Jackson, man, what do you think? Our first live broadcast here on Pick and Roll.
I'm pretty excited. I mean, Bert's given us a place to be, and we're going to talk some hoops, and it'll be a little different, but I think we'll be able to talk a little hoops. I don't think it'll be a problem.
Yeah, I don't think talking has never been a problem for either one of us, I don't think.
No.
And, especially with you, about basketball or whatever like that. For some of our other viewers or whatever like that, why don't you talk a little bit about you, too? I mean, obviously, you were a coach for how many years?
Well, I think I have on my resume 25 or 30, various times. I did a little high school. I was at Penn Manor. I was at Donegal. I did the E-Town College assistant. So we've done the website for 20 plus years. So, everything changes, but it's good to connect with everybody. And I think this will be a different way for us to talk to people that might not come into LL Hoops.
Well, and I think it's sorely needed. I think the reason why you and I talked about putting this show together is that, ultimately, everybody, there's all the individual conferences and, there's media personnel. And quite honestly, most of the media personnel are focused on their individual conference. But there really wasn't one entity that, ultimately it ends up in district playoffs. And, And obviously live here, and we've got friends coming in here at Bert's Bottle Shop. But, there was no real means to an end in talking about, the entire scope of the district and the playoffs and the teams and the power rankings. And that's kind of filling a void, isn't it?
Yeah. I believe, I don't know, I don't think anybody else is doing something like we're trying to do. We'll see how it goes, but I know people have short clips and short things here and there, but I don't think anybody dedicates an entire hour or entire show to looking around the district to see what's going on and to bring in some different coaches. We're going to do some interviews, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that too. I mean, pretty excited about, my own self. Obviously, everybody knows that I'm a Berks County guy, but gosh, I mean, I've called the LL Girls Finals now for the last 3 years, and ultimately for me too, this is good because I'm going to be calling the Girls State Finals for NFHS Network. So getting to know all these teams, getting to know all these schools. It's a lot of fun for me. I was down in Philadelphia. I got to see the Archbishop Wood girls. Got to see Imhotep and Archbishop Wood and that. I mean, and it gives you a totally different perspective on the teams you're watching by being able to connect the dots, doesn't it?
Yes. And the nice thing is you get to talk to other coaches. We bring them in on Zooms, and that's always a good thing too. I mean, most coaches like to be on a TV screen.
Yeah, they do. But I think most coaches like to talk about their programs too.
One goes hand in hand, my man.
Yeah. They really do. I mean, trying to promote their teams, trying to promote their players, and that's really what this show is all about too. Trying to promote teams, trying to promote players, trying to promote, special stories. Out beyond where, the parochial view of what most high school basketball is just on a conference basis.
Yeah, and a lot of times we don't zero in on the districts until the district tournament comes. I mean, coaches are looking at PowerPoints now, but there's nothing like it until the end when the brackets are set, and then the coaches start looking at things and a little bit closer. Right now, everybody's kind of concerned with their own league. Some teams are stepping out now, a la Reading, a la Columbia. Some of them are looking bigger picture right now. But all the leagues are hot right now. January is the time that everybody focuses in.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we've got a couple of, great interviews with coaches here that, we're going to get started right now. We're going to start with an interview with Kendra Merrifield with Hempfield. I've got to see them play, a little bit earlier this year and was quite impressed. They're up in the power rankings, and we'll talk about that a little later. But here's our interview with Kendra Merrifield.
Kendra Merrifield from Hempfield, undefeated so far this season. Off of a great year last year. Coach, welcome to Pick and Roll, our inaugural edition. What do you think?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to highlight both girls and boys basketball on Pick and Roll because it's very entertaining to me. I've done the LL finals for girls basketball the last 3 years, and I'll do it again this year, and ultimately I've done the state championships the last few years with NFHS Network. So I've really gotten to know the girls game and really enjoy the girls game. But you're undefeated so far on the season. Really have, a good group of players there. Looks like you rotate in regularly, 7 players. Talk a little bit about this year's team. And, obviously they performed pretty well being undefeated so far, right?
Yeah. Fortunately, we returned quite a few from last season, so we had some of that experience coming out of last year's group and into this year. But it's a great group of girls. I mean, from top to bottom, they have bought into the whole idea of working hard and earning your way through. So I think that's a big part as to where we're sitting where we're at. It's just that they understand that we can't just walk in on any given night and have it handed to us. But it's just a great group of girls who all have a common understanding, who are just working for something bigger than their individual goals.
Yeah, and it's funny, every time, and I've done a few of your games now, every time I talk to the opposing coach, it's like, well, it's that Hempfield style of basketball. You have to tell us, what that Hempfield style of basketball is.
I mean, we pride ourselves on the defensive end, so I think that's maybe where people say, it's that Hempfield style. If they have someone on the other team who's averaging or is their leading scorer, our goal at all times is always to hold them under that average that they're getting. So I think that's our biggest thing. And most times on the girls' side of things, if there's a player who is like their leading scorer, if you take her away, most times, not all, that kind of falters that other team. So maybe that's the brand they're talking about. I'm not sure, but I know we definitely our laurels are in our defense. That's our main point.
Well, and on the offensive end, and our buddy Del Jackson, he made it. Hey, off of the support line and into our broadcast. So our buddy Del Jackson.
Yeah, we're not off support, Bruce. We're still on support, but I wanted to say hi to Coach and congratulate her for a good season and kind of a follow up on what we saw last year at the LL Finals. I'm very pleased that to see that continued step and what the Knights are doing this year.
Yeah, thank you.
But it seems like you play a very deliberate style of basketball, even on the offensive side. Correct? I mean, I think that's somewhat of when they talk about the Hempfield style of basketball. You play a very deliberate, very meticulous type of offense, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, we for the most part, we let them play. Like, I don't put too many sets in just because I don't want my kids really to be robots. I want them to be able to know the game, be able to read the game, because if you have a team who scouts you, as we go up against many opponents of great coaches who know us inside and out. So if I just ran sets all day, we wouldn't be able to get anything off. So I try to get my kids to understand the game. But the big part of that offensive end is we really work in practice on getting a great shot versus just like an okay. So being patient, being poised, being like every possession being a precious possession. I think that too plays into our offensive set as well.
Yeah, you have a question there for Coach Del?
Well, I'm always curious from the coaching end is how you build from the beginning of the year to where you're at now. I mean, right now you're sitting on top of the 6A in power rankings, and I know everybody's reading stuff. And how do you keep your kids focused? And what is your what's your talk to the kids going forward at this point going forward? I mean, we got a month to go, and that's it as far as the LL.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy because we still have a good chunk of our season left. I mean, we've achieved a lot. We actually just talked when we came back because when in the new year we said we had a great 2021. That's all in the past now, and now we work on into 2022. And I think it's just really one game at a time for us is what we stress, and just making sure that we're not looking too far ahead. I mean, yeah, it's great that we're sitting at the top of the district, but that could change in 24 hours. So we just focus on one day at a time. And I think the girls coming off of last year, having had that time where we weren't sure if we were going to have a season, we weren't sure if we were going to play a game. So I think that kind of helps in essence because they come out each day ready to compete, almost taking it more seriously versus taking it for granted, where in past it was like, oh, I'll always have another game, I'll have another game. But I think last season kind of gave them that perspective of, well, we don't know if we'll play tomorrow. Right, so that helps.
Yeah, and for you as a coach, I mean, that had to be really difficult last year because at least this year, you know how the season is going to progress. So for you as a coach, and Del kind of touched on it a little bit, but I mean, do you have certain things that, you do at certain times of the year to make your team peak when it matters the most in the postseason?
A little bit. I don't know if it's so much certain time of the year or we try to at least touch on things in bits through the year. Like a big thing for us is making sure we work on situational play every day at practice, even if it's just for 5 minutes, just because that's something that's so important. And it's actually been very beneficial to us where we've been able to close out some of those games. And I think it's because we've done that in practice and we've kind of put them in those pressure situations in practice. So then come game time, it's like, oh, we've been here. So I think just working on it bit by bit each day.
Yeah. And talk a little bit about, the culture surrounding, Hempfield girls basketball. I mean, obviously I've been around the team or whatever like that a few times, and it's pretty easy to see that, there's this, I don't want to say aura, but, there's this just sense of camaraderie, community, with this one common goal, to win. And so, what do you do as a coach to really create that atmosphere?
When I came into the program, my goal was to get there. Do I think we're where we can be there? No, but to hear you say that, that's kind of what people see when they see us play. I take that to heart because I really want the girls to play for something bigger than themselves. Obviously, all the media and everybody that watches basketball, people see points, people see stats, but at the end of the day, I mean, I know myself as a player, when I look back, I don't remember any of that. So I want the girls to focus on those more, little things of you're going to remember what your teammates said to you after a game. You're going to remember the team bonding experiences, all that. And I try to stress more of that and that they can kind of all experience more working towards that greater goal together. So, I mean, like I said, I've had some of these girls for, the seniors 4 years now. So because I think we've all been together that long, it's just kind of becoming the culture. And then fortunately my junior high staff also believes in that same philosophy. So it's just been kind of cultured up through.
Coach, you got a final, Del, you got a final question for Coach there?
No, well, the only thing I'm thinking is how are you dealing with mom and coaching? How does that work?
Yeah, so far so good. My husband's great. He brings it to the game. My parents have been great. We have a really good support system, and she's loving it. Her first game, she wasn't so sure about the buzzers, but now she sleeps through them, so it's great.
Good. That's all I had, Bruce. I thought I saw Kendra. Were you at the boys' game Saturday?
Yes. Yeah.
I think I saw you down in the corner bouncing the baby. So
yeah, I was trying to get her to go down for a nap.
I'm gonna talk to her about that. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I did that as a coach. I mean, my wife did a lot of the work, but it's different as soon as that baby's there with the coaching thing. It's a lot different, as you know.
Yep, it is, but it's neat. I mean, and I grew up obviously playing sports, and I knew my coaches' families and their kids, and so it's just like it's a neat thing for me to have the girls involved, and yeah, it's fun.
Very good. Very good. That's all I had, Bruce.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, Kendra Merrifield, thank you very much for some time here. We recorded this on Sunday night, so you've got a busy week ahead. You'll have 2 games in your pocket before we actually broadcast, on Wednesday and a big 4-game week. So listen, thank you very much for your time. It's tough in season, but we appreciate everything you do, and wish you all the best of luck. And, hopefully we'll see you down the road at the LL Finals, okay?
Yep, yeah, thank you very much.
All right, thanks very much.
And we're back. Boy, that was, we had a great conversation with Kendra there. Touched on, obviously a lot of topics there, Del, including, motherhood and, balancing that with coaching, right?
Yeah. Once the babies come, life is different.
Yeah, life
very
is
different.
Tell me about it. I mean, thankfully, I had 3 kids, and I'm kind of done with that at this particular point. But this point of the show too, we want to take a look at some of the teams throughout all of the classifications here that are obviously off to a hot start. And in girls on the A side, Lidditz Christian, Christian School of York, Lancaster Country Christian, really all doing very well to start.
Yeah. The smaller private schools. I'm looking down the list. That the public school I'm seeing is Greenwood at 8. But these teams, we don't see too much of them or hear too much of them until the playoffs. So it's kind of interesting to follow before the season start, before the district start.
Yeah, absolutely. And and when we get into 2A there, Columbia, they're kind of ruling the roost on 2A, aren't they?
Yeah. Columbia, the boys and the girls, the Columbia girls, it's a magical place. Anybody that needs to do something to see a game, got to go to the Hill at Columbia. It's special atmosphere. You got people that know the players, they've been there. Probably a lot like Reading High. There's a lot of people really means a lot to them, basketball.
High school sports in general is so much a community. I mean, that's really what draws me in.
Yeah.
Is the community aspect of it. Without community, there really are no high school athletics because of the support that's required. It's not just a coach or a coaching staff or the players. It's the families that really have to make the sacrifice, not only on a personal level, but a financial level to keep these kids,
Absolutely.
And Linden Hall up there, I mean, they're obviously, one of the top teams year after year on the 3A side. Wow, undefeated Brandywine Heights out of the Berks League there.
Yeah.
Trinity, York Catholic, Ole Valley off to a hot start, Peckway Valley, 4A there, DeLone Catholic, Eastern York, and Berks Catholic. I know Bob Birmingham set a milestone, 600 wins, this year. That's quite an accomplishment, isn't it?
It's crazy. I mean, I do statistics for the LL, and there's not too many coaches in that level. That's for sure.
Yeah, and over on the Berks League side there too. I mean, Schuylkill Valley. I mean, they're fighting it out there in 4A as well. And then Lancaster Catholic, kind of, at number 7 so far. Usually we're accustomed to seeing them up on top of the power rankings.
Yeah, but don't count them out. I mean, they've stepped outside the area and played some bigger schools, and we'll see how they are in a couple of weeks, Bruce.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, it's like a week from Friday.
Yeah.
We're actually going to be live streaming Manheim Central and
Correct.
Lancaster Catholic girls, right?
Yeah, it should be a real good girls game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And on the 5A side, wow, Gettysburg at the top. Both sides. I mean, again, very strong commitment. Have a lot of friends showing up here. here at the at Bert's Bottle today to watch the
I
show.
can't help myself. I gotta wave a little bit when the people are coming in here.
That's okay. I mean, these.
It helps us be here with Bert. You know what I mean? It's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it too. I guess we have our own groupies, right?
Yes,
The LL Hoops groupies
the
are
LL
here.
Hoops groupies are here.
Well, that's good, but very interesting. I mean, York Suburban, Manheim Central, right there at the top of the the 5A rankings as well. The thing is from week to week though, there can be so much activity. A good week or bad week. This time of year, there could be a lot of volatility in the power rankings.
Yeah. I know one thing on Manheim Central, and I know the local people know, but their gym's being redone, so they're playing at elementary. So you just can't show up at their gym. You got to have a ticket to get in. So what they're doing is they're spreading the tickets around to the schools and to the parents. So. They have a big shootout coming up there. I think it's on the 19th for boys, Mid-Penn and LL. So they're working through some logistic problems there. But we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. And 6A, I mean, this is what a star-studded lineup here. I mean, we're just talking to Kendra there at Hempfield, but Cedar Cliff, Dallastown, I mean, Cumberland Valley, Central York, another very good team. I mean, this is quite the minefield in 6A girls in District 3, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, how good is it to start with a number one team on our interview, Bruce? I mean, that's amazing.
I don't know. Didn't we? I think we had that plan, but
well, we're just hoping it's not a jinx. That's all.
Right, not a jinx. And going down to Governor Mifflin and Manheim Township, who we just saw last night, came up with I think a 12-0 run to finish the game
at the end of the game,
and came away with the victory there. Missy Welsh with the nice LL Hoops player of the game there. So that was a lot of fun to call.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. So and now just a few words. From our sponsors, we'll try and group this all, together. But, we want to thank, obviously, you can see there in the lower part of the screen there, Bert's Bottle Shop, who's really stepped up and kind of our LL Hoops home away from home, even though it's just right down the road from Penn Manor, right?
Oh yeah, this is home area for me. So Bert was really nice enough to sponsor us, and he said Wednesdays sometimes aren't very crowded, but I'm looking around here and the place is packed. I mean, Bert's is an interesting place in that it's specialty beers, and they have some good food, finger food. I know I'm hitting the wings after we're done here.
Well, good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. My own self there. Win Marketing, they've been supporting, a lot of our Berks League games and are supporting this program. Win Marketing, really everything to do with internet marketing for businesses, websites, everything. Check it out, Win Marketing. And Empire Surplus Home Center. The Design Center is what I really like at Empire. Not many places you can go now, and it's just strictly a design center that you can talk to people and get opinions and really get up close and personal with that. And so many other sponsors that we've got as well. Big 60, we want to thank them for their support of the broadcast as well. The Big 60 produces shootouts for high school players looking for exposure. The 2022 dates at Spooky Nook have been announced. June 10th, August 14th, October 30th. Sign-up information is on the PA Hoops website, pahoops.org website, or you can call Mike Gaffney at 717-903-0732. We want to thank our bevy of LL Hoops sponsors as well, including My Jersey. In 2019, a high school basketball coach wanted to frame the jerseys of his senior players for gifts at the end of the season. The coach was required to purchase a replacement jersey for the team set. Professional framing of a jersey can cost hundreds of dollars. In this process, the coach realized he wanted his jersey framed from his playing days. but it was never given to him and gone forever. With technology today, isn't there a cost-effective way to recreate the likeness of a jersey? In this moment, the idea for My Jersey was born. A graphic designer turned this idea into a high-definition, life-size print using textures and shadows, which trick the eye into thinking it's a real jersey. All the best part? All we need is a picture of you in your uniform from your playing days, and it can be digitally recreated. My Jersey costs $250, which includes everything, including free shipping. myjerseydesigns@gmail.com is a great way to get in touch.
Yeah, let me talk a little bit about both of those sponsors. The Big 60, the one website, PA Hoops. Okay, that has more information. You asked me about coaches with 600 wins. He has that. Coach Gaffey's on there, and they do a great job with. They've been doing shootouts for ages, and they know how to get it done. And going to our friends up there at Spooky Nook's a good thing as well. So the second one is Rocky Parisis, and our friend Rocky does the My Jerseys, and with the framing and everything. Every once in a while we'll tweet something out, but it's a great gift. It's a great senior gift. It's a great Christmas gift, and it looks like the real deal.
Well, it brings back so many special memories.
Yeah.
I mean, how many of these athletes, that really don't play after high school, of any, consequence.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Rocky's a great guy, and he's still involved around basketball. But probably one of the best things is My Jersey that he did.
Yeah, My Jersey. It's a special company that produces something really cool that doesn't cost a whole heck of a lot of money. So
I think all these companies are special. We really appreciate their support. It's one that we're trying to really just kind of cover our costs. There are costs associated with all of these broadcasts. There's costs associated with putting together a website, and that's really all that we're trying to do. Just cover our costs so that these athletes, teams, schools, the district, get the coverage that they deserve, and that's really what it's all about.
Sure.
So, thanks so much to our sponsor, and thanks so much to Kerry Glover. He was a great interview that we had from Columbia. Talk a little bit about Kerry. You know him pretty well, don't you?
I've followed Kerry for the last couple of years. He's involved with some AAU. He does a fantastic job with getting his kids play hard, keeping everybody motivated, and we talked to him, and I think it'll be on our next clip that he hasn't lost a game in Section 5 in 2 years.
Wow.
And this is last year's Section 5, so we'll see if he can run the table. I don't know. We got a big game coming up on Thursday, which you and I will talk about.
That's right. All right. Well, let's bring in our interview with Kerry Glover, head coach of Columbia.
All right, Bruce Badgley, Del Jackson, and our first Coach's Corner interview here on Pick and Roll, Kerry Glover, coach at Columbia. Coach, welcome. How you doing tonight?
I'm all right. I appreciate you guys for having me.
Well, good. We record these on Sunday evening, so there's a little bit of a lag between the time that we're recording this and when we actually broadcast it. But, Coach, you're off to an undefeated start. A big win, actually, over York Catholic here, yesterday. So kind of a double whammy there, too. You're 8-0. And, really just beat your closest opponent in the district power rankings. So talk a little bit about, how your team's playing so far this season.
They're playing extremely well. Our focus coming into the season was, of course, not having any true bigs and not having a lot of size. Focus was making sure that we took our conditioning up to another level, and just making sure that we can pressure the basketball 94 feet and, just keep it going nonstop all game long for 4 quarters. And the job these guys, this group that I have here, man, the job that they're doing is just it's been amazing.
Now you got a question for Coach?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're off to this great start, Coach, and we'll do a little coach speak. Just talk about your preparation. You have a veteran team, so let's talk about some of your players, your starters, your bench guys. Tell us what everybody brings to the table.
So this year, the makeup of my team, with my starting five, three of those guys are seasoned. Obviously, my three senior core with Javon Collazo, Robert Footman Jr., and my son Kerry. Those guys, they've been playing together since third grade with AAU and things like that. And then that trio are the best of friends off the court. So it makes life a lot easier on the court. And then I have a junior, Aiden. Aiden is my quote unquote big, tough as nails, about 6'2", but his heart is much bigger. And he's one of those kids that you love to have as a part of your program, because he's our glue guy in that first five, and he never misses practice, he always on time, never complains. He just does all of the little things. And then rounding out my starting five is a sophomore, Braylon Miller, who he played sort of the six-man role for us last season, but this is his first opportunity as a starter and getting heavy minutes, and he's responded pretty well.
Talk a little bit about the way that you guys like to schedule your non-conference here. Last Saturday there, you had a good game here against York Catholic. You've got important game Monday with Susquehanna Township, correct?
Yeah.
What kind of philosophy that you and the athletic director, when you sit down and put a schedule together, what you're trying to accomplish in a non-league format?
So for me, my focus is always to try to. I like to try to schedule some big schools that have the size and the athleticism that I know we won't see on a normal basis in our classification of 3A. So, last year we were able to get William Penn and some schools like that. This year we were able to get Susquehanna Township and obviously having a traditional year in, year out program like York Catholic that has a lot of history and, they're always very solid. Getting a school like that on our schedule early in the season so our guys can understand, for whatever reason, Section 5 doesn't necessarily get a lot of love and respect. So for me, I like to play whoever, and my guys know my mentality. We'll play whoever whenever we get a chance to show that we're not just a good team in Section 5. Like, we can compete against whoever, whether it be, the Berks League, LL League, York Adams, Mid-Penn. We'll play anybody. The ball needs to bounce and the game needs to be played.
Yeah, Del, you had a question?
Yeah, I want to talk to Coach about your scheduling for this weekend. I was working on a schedule, and you and I were back and forth. Talk to me about the I don't even know what to call it. Maybe you can help me. It was a Martin Luther King. Is it a tournament? Is it a shootout? It's at Chambersburg, at least part of it. Go ahead and give us some background on that.
Yeah, so the Chambersburg at the AD at Chambersburg, Ron Corsi, he used to be the AD at William Penn a few years ago. So that's when we first got connected. Obviously, everyone knows I'm a York guy. So he had left York High and he went to Woodland Hills up in Pittsburgh. And then now he's back in this area at Chambersburg. So they have this Hoops for Hope MLK shootout where there's schools from all over the place. Pittsburgh, the Philly area, all over different teams around Central PA. I know York High is playing in it. Harrisburg High is playing in it. Obviously Chambersburg, and you have just a bunch of different schools. So our schedule this year was kind of for whatever reason it got thrown off a little bit. We were literally, I say, maybe a week away from the first day of the official start to the season, and we were like 6 games short.
Wow.
So I was left scrambling, trying to figure out how to pick up some games to make sure that we were able to get to 22 games. And this was one of the games that I picked up. I reached out, just wanted to see if we were able to get in. And again, it was one of those situations where normally maybe not, where small Columbia, Section 5, 3A, and mostly everybody in there is 5A, 6A schools. But our previous relationship, he just asked me straight up, Coach, can you guys compete? And I'm like, yeah, we can compete. Like, give us a shot. And whoever you match us up against, that's who we'll face. So we ended up originally we were supposed to play Woodland Hills, who is traveling down, but there was a change to the schedule, and we're now playing Berlin Brothers Valley out of Berlin, PA. I believe there's District 5 or District 7 team. So I've been getting some film on them the last day or two as I started preparing myself for that. I think it's just be big for my guys, seeing someone not from this area, looking at their style of play and how we match up against those guys.
I think it's great preparation for you, especially this season, to see different schools, and really you kind of have an idea of how good this team is, or how good, where your level is to compete with them. But just to be prepared for what's beyond the LL. Obviously you guys got goals for the LL and for Section 5, and I'll throw a big bone out for you. I think, I might be wrong, but I think you've gone 2 years in a row without a loss in Section 5. Am I correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. So not to put the jinx on you, but that I think that'll help you down the road and for the district. So we have another big game. LL Hoops is live streaming your game at Mennonite this week, and that's kind of who you guys been banging up against here the last couple of years. Talk to me a little bit about Mennonite and what you know about them.
They're a resilient group, well coached. I have some different relationships with a few players that's over there due to me having an AAU program over at the Nook with the Raiders. So a couple of those guys have come through our program, and very good kids, very talented basketball players. We look forward to that battle. My first few years at Columbia, Mennonite was a machine. And that Mennonite was one of the schools that for myself, personally, as a coach and the leader of this program, beating Mennonite was one of the hurdles I wanted to make sure I was able to get over. And they had some terrific players with Javon Terry and Elijah Terry, and the list just kept going on year after year. And I'm like, they graduate players and don't miss a beat. Sort of the same with Lancaster Catholic. So that was just one of my goals, was for me and my program to be able to get over that hurdle.
Nice.
Well, I tell you what, you're off to a great start so far. How do you keep your guys grounded now? Okay, I mean, you got obviously a conference schedule coming up, obviously peppered in with some non-conference games, but how do you keep these guys grounded on the fact of, you still have the vast majority of your schedule to go to before you even get the district play? How do you kind of, like I said, not coast, but how do you motivate these guys throughout the entire season to perform at a high level?
One of the big things that I appreciate this group is just being able to have a short-term memory. Whether you win or you lose, going to lose some games, or it's a part of the process. But you just got to be able to forget it and move on. And when you're winning games, obviously keep in mind the things that got you to that point, but don't stay stuck on it, because each game presents a different challenge. So that's what I really stress to this group, because our guys off the bench, they're students of the game. They're young. I have one junior and the rest are sophomores and one freshman. But I coach those guys up and put them in situations to where any pressure that they see in the game, they'll be familiar with. So I just tell those guys, like, hey, just got to put your big boy pants on. This isn't junior high or freshman ball anymore. You're out here with the big boys, so you got to make sure that you don't let the big boys walk all over you.
Well, Coach, I tell you what, it's been a pleasure meeting you. I'll be there Thursday, streaming the game with you and Mennonite there. LL Hoops will be streaming that game on Thursday. That should be quite the battle. And, Section 5, and then when we get into district play, I got a feeling we're going to see you guys a lot down the road. So, Coach, thank you very much for your time, and best of luck the rest of the season, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything from you guys. You guys do an awesome job highlighting our players.
Well, great. Thank you so much, gang. All right.
All right, and we're back. Wow, bringing in all this technical stuff into a live show.
Yeah.
Not too bad, huh?
Yeah. The videos are good. I like it. I like the coaches get to talk about their team, and they know what's going on, and we can kind of poke a little bit too. So Coach Glover, really good with us, and I thought it was interesting when he was talking about the shootout, the tournament at Chambersburg, which is coming up. MLK, they have a whole big list of teams, and I think it's like $5 to get in for all the games.
Wow, that's really not bad. But I think the biggest thing for him is getting that test. I mean, he's trying to use, we talked about in that in the interview there about obviously Section 5 and what have you, but the philosophy of what they're doing, they've got to prepare their team for the long term with their preseason schedule, or like these Saturday shootout games, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he played Susquehanna Township last week. He does a good job, and he even last year when they weren't a top-rated team, he would step out. He plays anybody, so it's a good philosophy, I think, and I think it prepares them for hopefully down the road, and he has bigger aspirations, than just going unbeaten right now.
I think when a coach does things like that, he's sending his message to his team on what the team's expectations are, right?
Oh yeah. Well, they have most of their kids coming back from last year, so they're primed. They're ready. So as we're talking about Columbia, I know we're going to talk about this later on, but it's Wednesday. They play Lancaster Mennonite, and Lancaster Mennonite hasn't lost in Section 5. Lancaster Mennonite won the districts last year, and I think Columbia did too. I'm not sure.
And oh, by the way, that's who we're streaming tomorrow night?
That might be our game tomorrow.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And that's fun. I mean, I've been, a couple games. Actually, we did stream a game. You and I did the Berks Catholic Lancaster Mennonite game a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
That's a good team. Berks Catholic, very good.
Yes.
That was quite the shootout, wasn't it?
Yeah. The guards for Berks were really, really good. And I think the game that we saw, Mennonite was missing their big guy. He's back. David Weaver is back. So that'll change things. Teams won't be able to get to the rack and get layups. So they're gonna get there, and they're gonna see a big 6'6" kid saying, "Come on, bring it on." So, and that's something that Columbia doesn't see much in Section 5. The big kid.
There aren't really those, as Dick Vitale called the aircraft carriers.
Correct.
in District 3 at all, really?
Yeah. There's I'll tell you what, there's some teams, I know the LL. E-Town has a really big guy that's pretty good. Elko has a big guy that's pretty good. Octorara has a big guy that's pretty good. So there's a couple, but overall, I would say no.
You know, and that's the thing. For me, the single biggest thing that's changed in basketball over the last few years, I mean, for anybody that doesn't know, hey, look, I'm an Indiana guy. I grew up, you know, in Indiana. I was at IU with Bobby Knight, was head coach. And the big guys playing with their back to the basket is the basketball that obviously a lot of us grew up with. And now, not that there's anything wrong with the basketball now of, you know, kick it out and up tempo and what have you. Look, things change, but boy, I sure miss those big guys, don't you?
Well, you can't. We used to say in coaching when I was coaching, you can't coach height and you can't coach speed. So there's two things that, you know, if you have a 6'8" guy, I don't know anybody in this league that's not going to use a 6'8" kid if he can play. And you know, fast guys, they can make a big difference. But the game has changed. I mean, it's a wide open game. The NBA has changed, and you know, everybody kind of mimics what the NBA guys do. So, you know, people blame Seth Curry, but you know, I love watching that type of basketball. So there's a place for everybody. You know, if a team has a big guy and other teams don't have a big guy, they're not used to playing it, and that happens. And you know, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it is kind of fun, and you know, the matchups, you know, just make it more entertaining and more difficult for the coaches, right?
Yes.
But and I think that the coaches like those kind of challenges,
sure.
You know, as well. But on the boys' side, as far as district rankings go, Mount Calvary Christian on top, followed by Linville and High Point from, you know, Berks County there, who always seems to be, you know, in the mix. And in 2A. Yeah, we were just talking, you know, while the interview was going on. I got to get out and see my buddies down in Antietam because that could be, you know, that's setting up really kind of crazy between them, Lancaster Mennonite, and look at Upper Dauphin and DeLone Catholic. I mean, 2A could be quite entertaining.
I could be wrong, Bruce, but I think Mennonite and Antietam played for the districts last year. I believe I saw that game. So that was it. That was at Lancaster Catholic. So it looks like maybe a rematch down the road is coming in you know, in that section, Double A.
And at AAA, Columbia on top, followed by York Catholic, Tulpehocken. They always seem to be in there too. Brandywine Heights, you know, I mean, both boys and girls teams playing extremely well from Berks Catholic. There's Lancaster Catholic in there. And in 4A, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Let me go back to Columbia for a second. I wasn't at the game. We were covering another game, but Coach's son, Kerry Glover of HOV, he hit his 1,000-point this year. So you know that's pretty special stuff. It's a nice thing. It's really a nice thing.
I guess the one question that we really, you know, he touched on the fact that his son was there. I mean, you know, how special or how difficult is it to coach your son?
Incredibly difficult. I went through it as an assistant at Penn Manor, and it's very stressful on the family. It's very stressful on the coaches, but on the flip side, on the good side, you get to spend time every day with your son, and there's nothing better than that. So you know, there's some good and bad, and you know, the nice thing is you got a 1,000-point score, so you're not talking about a guy that shouldn't be playing. You know what I mean? He's playing, and he's good to play.
It's an easy decision to make.
There's nobody's going to question why he's playing. That's for sure.
Exactly right. And in Quad A, Berks Catholic, Middletown right there. I mean, you know, traditionally the two teams that have really slugged it out in 4A, but you know, Elko, Trinity, Littlestown, Ole Valley, you know, Wyomissing's had a little bit of, you know, issues getting started on that front. But
let me, since we're kind of focusing on the LL today, let me just say something about Elko. They're sitting on top in their section, which is new to them. You asked about some big guys. They got a big guy, Ativo is his name, Steel High name from way back when. So they're solid. They're really solid. I saw them against Lebanon, and when we talk about matchups, they got a big, and not a lot of people have that. So we're gonna see them next week. So we're
Right.
excited about that.
And we saw Berks Catholic
Yes, we
against
saw
Mennonite,
Berks.
and I
Their
mean
guard play is outstanding.
they
Outstanding.
basically just start firing it from when they walk out on the
Who
court.
was our player of the game?
J.J. Jordan.
Jordan. I was gonna say Jordan, and I'm telling you, I was so impressed with how he got to the rack, number one, and even more so, I was impressed with his interview after the game. He was very, very thankful to us, and I talked a little bit coaching with him, and he was like, "Yep." So it was cool to see that team and that progression, and of course, Coach.
Yeah,
He's another one of those
Coach-
guys that's got, I don't know how many hundreds of wins. He's
Yeah,
got to be
Snip Esterly,
700.
I mean-
He's close. Is he 700? Do you know, Bruce?
Yeah, I don't
offhand?
think he's 700.
He's 600, I'll bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty close. Yeah.
Well, and the nice thing is that I've been so impressed with how he's handling this team this year. I mean, he and it's not just a 1 year plan. I mean, he's had and as a coach, I mean, this is his year with these guys, and they still have another year.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still got some underclassmen on this team, but boy, he's got a good group.
Yeah, and I'm amazed, and I don't know much about the Berks, but they play with the big boys night in and night out. So they're playing Wilson, they're playing ready. So they're battle tested going into playoffs.
Well, their only
down the road.
losses to Reading High
Yeah,
so
well,
far. I mean,
no, that's not a bad thing. That's not like, boy, you got out coached tonight. You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
they'll be rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
It'll be good. And I know Middletown really good. That's going to be a fun bracket.
yeah. Well, and I think too. Well, we're going to have them on, quite a few times. Actually, we're going to feature Section 1 with our SSP network streaming, over there in Berks too. So, and in 5A, wow, talk about LS and West York. I mean, and Hershey, Palmyra. I mean, what a minefield we've got there in 5A.
Yeah. LS we've seen a couple times. We're going to see them down the road again. And West York, I think we're going to get Coach Garrett on next week if we can. And Palmyra just had a big win over Cedar Cliff the other day. Knocked Cedar Cliff off. That was their fourth loss. And I know Palmyra plays a lot of the LL teams. And the thing with that is nobody's beating them until Lebanon beat them the other night. When they do the crossovers into the LL. So that's a fun team to watch as well.
Yeah, Exeter Township too, lurking. They're playing a tough schedule, but they've got a lot of the football players now, on that team, and very talented group. Clearly setting up to be quite a dogfight there in 5A. And 6A, Chambersburg actually on top.
I was gonna ask you, what surprised you when you look at the power rankings today? Now,
Chambersburg,
yeah,
obviously.
from the District 3 website, which does a great job. I mean, this power ranking, they put all the games on, they put the schedules on, they're updated very, very quickly. It's the go-to place to find out where teams are, who they're playing next, and up-to-date PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, fantastic. And but Reading High right in there, Cumberland Valley. I mean, some different teams at the top, on 6A this year, which makes it fun, you know.
Yeah.
Especially when we get into the conference there. We saw Warwick last night.
Yes.
I mean, they looked. I mean, they were just shooting the eyes out of the basket.
I don't know. They play like banshees, Bruce, on the defensive
Chris
end, and
Christensen,
then
he's
they
crazy.
have the leadership in Tate Landis, and they're really fun to watch. You look at them and you're like, they're not going to do anything, and they just have something going special right now at Lititz.
Yeah, and lurking, Wilson, they're putting it together. Coach Coldren, I mean, winningest coach, I believe, in Wilson history, set that mark last night. And so, yeah, I mean, it's 6A is really setting up to be, I think, a little bit different. I mean, obviously, Reading High, an overwhelming favorite there. But the cast of characters that are going to, vie to, to not only get to a district final, but the nice part this year, too, and we didn't touch on this at all until right now, But now we've got the traditional play-ins into the PIAA tournament from district play,
Yeah.
which is, I think, so sorely missed last year. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to this year.
Yeah, we're gonna knock on wood on that. We're gonna hope that it all happens, and it's scheduled to happen. And same way with our league playoffs. You know, there's fans back in the stands, and districts and states. So there are a lot of hoops coming up here in the next 2 months.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, any teams out there that are interested to get, some play-by-play or some streaming or whatever like that, just let us know. We've got a couple of groups that can, come over and stream games. My group with the SSP Network, and obviously llhoops.com. And we've got other people that can, help schools out to, really get some nice broadcasts out there with some play-by-play and analysis. And that's really what it's all about, right?
Yep. What do you got planned coming up?
Oh my! Well, tomorrow night we've got, like you touched on, we've got Columbia and Mennonite. Friday night for me, over on the Berks side, SSP Network, we've got Muhlenberg and Governor Mifflin. So I'll be able to take a look at Muhlenberg, who, they've been kind of a terror here, the last few years. Ty Nesby moved on and got Coach Flowers in there, and building a whole new culture again. But boy, I tell you what, they're looking awful good to start. So I'm really anxious to see Muhlenberg on Friday night. I think they're kind of the unknown entity. They are now in 6A.
Yes. Yeah. We had the game tomorrow. You got a game on Friday, and then the following week. What do you got planned the following week as of now?
Well, following week, I think as of right now, I think we've got Manheim Central and
Girls
Lancaster
game
girls
on Friday. We're going to do another doubleheader.
Yeah.
So you'll be at Lancaster Catholic, and my crew will be at LS to see top-rated LS and number 4 Elko.
Right, and just got some. We don't try and get too ahead of ourselves with obviously all the issues going on and with weather and things like that. But, we're going to have a lot of Section 1 play in the Berks League, and, trying to see on the girls' side, we don't want to forget the girls as well. I mean, the girls' basketball is a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm going to be, my ticket's punched to, the Giant Center already, so I'm going to see as many girls' games as I can. I was fortunate enough to see Archbishop Wood a little bit earlier, and, boy, they're
back again, huh?
They are back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
So, but wow, our first show, what do you think?
I think I'm out of voice.
That's hard to say, right?
No, it was good. It was good. We're gonna build on this, and we'll get different areas. I think next week we're gonna focus on York County, and then down the road we got Mid-Penn coming in. I think that's gonna be a nice format that we get different media guys in here, hopefully, and talk about teams that they've seen, and hopefully we can get some different coaches in them too.
And that's really what it's designed to do, is get the dialogue going so that, look, you fans, ultimately, you're going to be playing these teams from the other conferences. So, tune in and, learn about, who the hot players are, who the hot teams are, what's going on in the other areas. Support these local newspapers through subscription and what have you. Please support all of the sponsors of these broadcasts too. Our friends at Empire Home Centers, Win Marketing, Birds, all of our friends there at Big 60 as well. Thank them so very much. And other than that, I think it's a wrap, right?
Good deal.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right, check us out. We've got Columbia